I'm Ann Charles.
I'm Linda Quinlan, and welcome to All Things LGBTQ. It's Tuesday, November 19th. And Keith won't be with us tonight. The weather was bad. Ann and I live around the corner, so we could get here. So, hi, Keith. And now we'll go to the headlines.
Yeah, we'll see Keith next time. I have many headlines. News from stage and screen. Renegade Dutch penguins. Corporate activism. Uganda charges 67 people after raid on LGBT-friendly bar. Saudi promo video labels feminism, atheism, homosexuality as extremist ideas. Tirana, at the first Dyke March, many lesbian, queer, bisexual, trans, intersex, and non-binary women. Tirana is in Albania, and I have a picture before you now of the march. Great breakthrough. Thousands show up for the Pride Parade on LGBT rights in Hong Kong, as some wear masks and chant anti-government protest slogans. So I have a picture of the Hong Kong march. Half the attendance was cut by half because of all the other protests. There was a ban on the march. But other members of the Hong Kong population marched the next day. Hong Kong's LGBT migrants marched the following day. They had their pride rally to push for better wages, rights, and respect. So I have a picture of them. A historic day in Austrian politics. I have a picture now of 3 lesbian geniuses, they call themselves, Fika L. Nagashi, Iwa Ernst Dejcik, Mary Dusowski. They joined the Austrian parliament. This is the first time in 10 years since Ulrika Lulasek left the parliament for Brussels in 2009 that there are out lesbian women sitting in the first chamber of parliament.
How nice is that?
It's so cool. All 3 share a migrant background.
We have their picture?
We do have their
All right.
picture.
Okay.
Malaysia, bad news. Caning of 4 men is a terrible warning to LGBTQIA people, while more await trial. Cayman Islands, bad news from there. The same-sex marriage ruling has been overturned. It's unclear what the plaintiffs are going to do, but here they are. In a picture now, this is Vicki Baden-Bush, who's in this center, her partner Chantel Day, who is right. This is a picture of them leaving the court with Day's mother, Myrta Day, in the middle. Nope, on the left, sorry. So we have Vicki Baden-Bush in this center, Chantel Day on the right, and Day's mother on the left. So it's unclear what their next steps will be. Zimbabwe judge issues a landmark transgender rights ruling. And now I have a picture of the person there who brought suit. Her name is Ricky Nathanson. And she was able to get a visa, and now she lives in the United States and works in LGBT rights organization in Rockland, Maryland? In Maryland, in any case. And last, good news, sort of mixed news, but basically good news. The Side by Side Film Festival in St. Petersburg goes on despite threats. So
we'll see what happens.
They had to, well, I'll tell you what happened. They had to cancel a film. They were heckled, but still, and they were heavily protested, but they prevailed, and they didn't. The whole thing wasn't canceled, so that's progress.
Yeah, that's good.
So those are my extensive headlines.
Wow. You've been busy.
I have.
Excuse me. On to the United States. Marlene Dietrich is celebrated as a bi immigrant in a Smithsonian TV series called America in Color. She applied for citizenship in 1937 after refusing orders from the Third Reich to make propaganda films. The show can be seen at 8 p.m. Sunday on the Smithsonian Channel. So that should be interesting.
Yeah.
Ken Paxton, Texas Attorney General, is fighting to allow bias against LGBTQ parents. He and the Archdiocese, working together, want foster and adoption agencies to turn away LGBTQ people and still get federal funding. So,
does he have a bill before the legislature?
No, but they're working on it.
Just his views.
Yeah.
Okay.
Only 3 people attended the Dallas Straight Pride, so that was kind of good. And then we're going to talk a little about Season of Love, Actually. It's for lesbian women. In Alabama, a printing company has refused to print a magazine from the University of South Alabama. New York grants state benefits to LGBTQ veterans, which is a good thing. Kansas City bans conversion therapy for youth. Roxanne Gay and Debbie Millman are engaged.
That's right. I read the whole romance.
Gay is a author and cultural commentator, and her partner is an artist and writer.
I'm on Roxanne. I'm a Roxanne Gay Twitter follower.
I know. I loved her book.
Bad Feminist is
Bad
the one
Feminist,
I read.
yeah. Gay man sues over his salary. Kentucky elects LGBTQ supportive Democratic governor. Longtime LGBTQ enemy Stephen Menashe was confirmed to the federal court. He has a history of homophobic, misogynist, and racist writing, and now he has a lifetime appointment to the courts. A former principal in Kentucky who banned LGBTQ inclusive books has been indicted for child pornography.
There we go.
Philip Wilson, 59, has been charged in 11 counts of possession of child pornography. Whitney Houston's partner, Robin Crawford, writes a book revealing the intimate and romantic nature of their relationship. That should be interesting. Elizabeth Banks says that gay representation is important in Charlie's Angels. Ms. Banks is the writer, producer, and co-star, and has delivered an action-packed movie that is both feminist and queer. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that.
Is that a headline, or are you going to talk more about it?
That's a headline. That's it.
That's it? You're not going to talk more about it?
No.
Because Kristen Stewart said there's no doubt that her character is lesbian.
Right, yeah. Robin Stevenson is an award-winning Canadian author of more than 20 books for teens and children. We're going to have a little story about Wendell Melton, who was arrested 2 years ago in connection with the death of his 14-year-old son. And Jeff Younger petitioned a Texas court last month for sole custody of his twins. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. But
Okay. I have many clips to show you in my first segment.
I'm telling you, she's been very busy.
I have. From stage to screen. I'd like to start, if I may, with Anne Juliet, which is Max Martin's new musical, It boldly gives queer people a voice. It's exciting. You don't really get stories like this on stage. This is something different, says leading lady Miriam Teak Lee, who plays Juliet.
Can we see it while in New York?
No, it's in London,
Oh, in London.
unfortunately,
All right, well,
at
we'll
the
have to
West
go to
End.
London.
I know, it's worth going to London to see. It's at the Shaftesbury Theatre in the West End. Not only is this show brought to the stage by music genius Max Martin, who did Domino, Problems, Since You've Been Gone, but it's ushering in a new world for queer representation on stage, where previously ignored stories of sexual and gender identity aren't a secondary thought or an unexplored side moment, but front and center. From queerness to non-binary identity and pansexuality, it's all here in the story of what would happen if Juliet, of Romeo and Juliet fame, decided not to die for the love of a man. That's right, this is Shakespeare remixed as Juliet takes control.
Great.
And in the clip, you'll see Anne Hathaway talking to Will Shakespeare and telling him, telling him his plays need to be rewritten. You meet a huge range of characters, including the nurse from the original tale. Her name is May, and she goes on this trip of a lifetime to Paris, and everything unfolds from there. May's essential. May becomes non-binary. Because both Juliet and May are creations of Shakespeare's wife, Anne Hathaway, they have an aspirational quality to them. They reflect Anne's hope for a society in which people are freer with their choices and self-expression. Ethnicity, sexuality, gender. The characters are fully fleshed people who have arcs and are multifaceted and flawed. The actor who plays May says, "I'm so honored to be able to play a genderqueer character in a musical in a commercial space. This just doesn't happen," but now it has. My next,
You have a penguin story, don't you?
penguins are coming up. But before that, I'd like to go to Georgia, which is the site of a lot of controversy. There's a gay film that has debuted. It's called And Then We Dance. The former Soviet Republic of Georgia opened it. It's critically acclaimed, but it opened in the city of Tbilisi, and hundreds gathered on Friday to protest it. It portrays a young man in a Georgian National Ballet Company who falls in love with a rival performer. The same-sex love story, directed by Levin Akin, a Swedish national of Georgian descent, premiered at the Cannes Film Festival and has been selected as Sweden's entry for the Academy Award for Best International Feature. A local activist, Anna Sebeliani, was among those injured during the protest. There are images of her bleeding in ambulance that were circulated on social media, while news agencies reported live from the theater, showing film goers being ushered quickly into the film under police guard. Subiliani, however, said the police did nothing and that she and her friends were severely beaten and injured. About 100 protesters stayed till the end of the film. Before Friday's screening, the film director took to social media to call out those who were planning to protest and explain the need to stand up against such attacks. It is absurd that people who bought tickets need to be brave and risk getting harassed or even assaulted just for going to see this film, Akin wrote on Instagram. I made this film with love and compassion. It is my love letter to Georgia and my heritage. With this story, I wanted to reclaim and redefine Georgian culture to include not all, just some. While homosexuality is legal in Georgia and the government has put in place anti-discrimination laws, activists and experts have said that much still needs to be done to ensure adequate protections for LGBTQ Georgians, obviously. In a report from 2018, the UN's expert on violence and discrimination of LGBTQ people said that beatings, harassment, and exclusion were commonplace in the country. So, a mixed message, a really good film, though, it looks like. I hope it comes to the U.S.
I know. There's two good things we hope come to the U.S.
May I just chat quickly about penguins? Let's move, if we can, to the Netherlands. I know I've spoken extensively about penguins, and here's another pair. They're kind of rogue gay penguins. They stole an egg from another family, and they're trying to hatch it. There are two, and I'd like to show you a picture of two African penguins. I don't know if they're the culprits, but there are two gay male African penguins at a zoo in Amersfoort in the Netherlands. They discovered them, the zookeepers discovered them nesting an egg alongside the heterosexual couples.
Who lost their egg?
Yes. The gay couple are looking after the egg very well and take turns keeping it warm, said the zookeeper. As we know, homosexuality is fairly common in penguins. What makes this couple remarkable is that they have gotten hold of an egg, the zookeeper said. The zoo said the gay couple took the egg from a heterosexual couple who went on to produce another. The zookeeper said they hope the gay couple's egg will hatch. However, it's not yet certain if the egg has been fertilized. Several zoos around the world have given their own gay penguin pairs abandoned eggs to hatch and raise, but this couple took it by themselves. That's right, they took the initiative.
So what did they do, wait till nobody was there?
Apparently.
Or did they push them off the nest?
Or maybe the heterosexual penguins were distracted.
Maybe.
They seized the moment in any case.
Because usually they sit on them all the time. Someone's sitting on them all the time.
I don't know. Now they have the egg.
Now they have the egg. Well, we'll see, huh?
That's right.
You know, I was reading that penguins also have a lot of other things in common with humans, besides gender, fluidity.
What might that be?
Well, some of them aren't as pleasant as one might think.
Oh, they're cute, but not always
perfect.
personable.
Yeah, yeah. They have known to rape.
No.
Yeah. And
what's your source for that?
I was reading it online
Sounds like
today.
Reading
well,
it
we'll
online.
See. Well, I'm going to do more research
yes,
on that.
before you impugn the penguins.
Just so you know.
Uh-huh.
I was reading this article about explorers that have, been to like Antarctica, or like early, I don't know, when did they go, 1850s or something to explore? Anyway, they were really upset when they saw. Did you read that?
I have a recollection of that article, but I didn't give it any credence.
Well, anyway, there you have it. So I'll do more research.
Yes.
Okay.
But, I read it too.
It's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, these penguins aren't.
No, they're not violent.
No.
No, okay. So we have A Season of Love actually is for lesbian women. The film is by, for, and about lesbian women. It's a Christmas movie, and there are many movies this year that have gotten more LGBTQ. On Netflix, Let It Snow, and Ghostling, The Spirit of Christmas. But Season of Love has lesbians up front and center. So you might want to check that out on your Netflix for Christmas. Gay man sues over his salary. This is an interesting story because it seems like, well, let me tell the story, and then I think the women should sue. I mean, but okay, anyway.
So what happened?
This man's salary was slashed to match the salary of females who worked at the company.
Oh, I saw that, yeah.
Henry David, the owner of Evanique, fired a gay employee after lowering his salary to what women make. When he came out to one of his fellow employees in front of his boss, his employee asked him about his flashy and girly ring, and did his partner also have a very girly ring? And his salary was cut from $145,000 to $70,000.
Where was this?
I don't know. His boss said that he couldn't sleep at night, thinking that he was making so much more than the females in the office.
Oh, that reasoning, you're right, is very suspicious.
His boss denies all allegations. But you think,
That's crazy.
So the women were making $70,000. He was making $145,000.
Right.
I mean, that's a huge, that's
Yeah.
like twice,
Twice, yeah.
over twice the salary of the women who were there.
Yeah.
So, Robert,
Plus the slur that gay men are women. And
well, all of it. I mean, the
abhorrent.
women would have a case, wouldn't they?
I
Like,
would
why
hope
was he
so.
making over twice as much
Raise
as they?
everybody. Yeah.
Anyway, I thought that was pretty interesting. Robin Stevenson is an award-winning Canadian author of more than 20 books for teens and children. Her book, Pride, Celebrating Diversity and Community, was a 2017 Stonewall Honor Book, and she has won and been a finalist for numerous other awards. She is a 2019 YA mentor for We Need Diverse Books. Robin lives on the West Coast with her partner and son.
Oh.
And Wendell Melton, who was arrested, you may remember, 2 years ago in connection with the death of his 14-year-old son, Giovanni, appeared in court in Nevada on Wednesday. Giovanni's mother, Veronica Melton, says that she believes Wendell shot her son because he thought he was gay. Wendell has claimed Giovanni's death was an accident, that an argument got physical, and that he didn't mean to pull the trigger.
I doubt it, but
I know. When I was married to him, his mother said, he would make very disparaging remarks about people that were gay. And to me, I know that was what he was thinking when he shot him.
So he's been charged?
Well, he was charged a while ago, but now he's going to court to see, what the charges will be, manslaughter, first degree, or, his mother sought to have him medically transitioned into a girl, reportedly decided to attend elementary school the week dressed as a boy, according to a recent Facebook post. So anyway, she, the 7-year-old in Texas is the center of a custody battle that has attracted national attention.
Wait a minute, this is a different story from the kid who was shot.
Yes.
So you've moved on to another
I
story.
have moved on to another story. I'm sorry. Was
I
it
became
not clear?
very confused.
Okay.
Okay, so the father who shot his son
Is going
gonna-
to court.
Okay, and now what's happening in this case?
Okay, in this case, a 7-year-old is in Texas at the center of a custody battle that has attracted national attention after his mother sought to have him medically transition into a girl, reportedly decided to attend elementary school this week dressed as a boy, according to a recent Facebook page. So that was the story about, and now the child's father, Jeff Younger, petitioned Texas court last month for sole custody of his twins, James and Jude. He said it was in effect to prevent their mother, Dr. Ann Georgalis, from allowing James to begin hormone replacement therapy. Georgius, who works as a pediatrician, says the child is transgender, identifies as a girl, wears dresses, and goes by the name Luna. Jeff Younger said he believes his child is a happy boy. And a social transition or medical transition would not be in his best interest.
And where's his medical degree?
Yeah, really. The Texan reported the child's mom, who was divorced from the father, initially filed a petition for joint parenting, which required Younger to affirm the child's identity by using the name Luna, something recommended by the child's therapists. In response, Younger filed for sole custody. That's the father. A jury later returned a verdict in favor of the mother. And this is really interesting because it was a pivotal decision, but a Texas judge, Kim Cooks, went against the jury's ruling, making the final call that the two parents should share joint custody
that's awful.
of the twins. Jury Goulis responded this week, filing 2 new motions Tuesday to conform to the jury's verdict to grant the mother sole custody, and then to step down from her position in the court because she should never have overturned.
I know, it's
the
clear
decision of the
instance
jury.
of bias. I
Yeah.
didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah. So that was that story.
So the mother's appealing, and then
the
what?
mother's appealing, and who knows? We'll have to keep up with the story about.
Yeah,
I think she probably would have grounds to appeal since,
yeah.
you know, it went to jury. I mean, why have a jury if you're going to overturn their
verdict.
their verdict? And apparently, you know, the father kind of tortures the son a little bit. You know,
Oh,
when there was
sure.
more of that story of like forcing him to go to church in a suit and tie, and so anyway, it's an ugly story, and we'll have to see how it develops. See if she wins her case.
Well, what it reminds me of on a national level is the current dispute, the current Supreme Court decision to wait on
Oh yeah.
whether or not Trump's accounting firm should release his tax returns when every single lower court says he has to turn them over, and all of a sudden the Supreme Court wants more time.
Did they say how much more time does it
No.
take to make that decision?
No. They just said that he doesn't have to turn them over on Wednesday, which had been the original ruling. All the lower courts agree. Let's turn to more.
That's
may
what
I?
happens when you have a political.
Judicial system.
Yep.
I'd like to turn. You know, I watch a lot of book TV, and many pundits say laws are very important, but we need to change the culture. With laws, if the culture hasn't changed, you know, there's a disconnect.
Right.
So 2 corporate interests I'd like to report on now are working to change the culture in very exciting ways with their commercials. So there is a corporate interest there. I'd like to show you first an ad for Sprint, the soft drink, from Argentina, which, as you can see, is decidedly pro-LGBTQ. It's called the Pride Sprite ad. So take a look at that now.
When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high, and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of a storm, there's a golden sky and the sweet silver song of a lark. Walk on through the rain. Walk on with hope in your heart, and you never walk
That's fun.
So there's the parent looking on, wanting his, in this case, child to be free.
Yeah. It's nice.
Yeah.
And you have another corporate clip, don't you?
Another corporate clip that is I find personally very exciting. Our colleague here, Zach, says that we probably can't buy a Renault Clio here in the U.S.
Yeah.
But it's a Renault Clio ad.
Renault or Renault?
Renault. I looked it up because in Buffalo we all used to say Renault. I
yeah.
know. But no, it's Renault.
Ah.
It's an advert, as we say in Europe, that breaks the norm and does it with grace, complete with the magic of a rom-com film, childhood sweethearts, rain-soaked kisses, a star-crossed lover storyline, and a slow piano version of Wonderwall by Oasis. Powerful stuff. It's 2 minutes and 10 seconds. It's been launched to celebrate Clio's 30-year anniversary, and it shows the relationship between two British and French girls that develops over 3 decades. The Clio itself is an important character, literally driving the story onward from childhood, French exchange partners eating ice cream, playing on swings and cruising through sun-dappled France, to teenage lovers dancing to music, frolicking in the sea, and having their first kiss in a Renault Clio, naturally. Letters and photos are sent across the channel, but their relationship is cut short by outraged parents. And you'll see a scene in this clip where the French father is scolding the dark-haired daughter who is French, and the redhead is British. In adulthood, the French woman marries a man, and the British woman looks on in despair. You'll see that in the clip. But this does not
It's
last.
like a movie.
It is. It's incredible. This did not last for long. The marriage soon breaks down, and the French woman once again makes the channel crossing in her Clio to find her first love. The ad ends full circle with the two now happily married driving to the now welcoming British parents-in-law in the newest iteration of the Clio, their own child in tow. Since debuting last week, the internet has erupted with emotion, with many viewers claiming to have cried while watching. All right, so let's take a look at this wonderful
So
ad.
we can't buy that car?
I guess we can't buy the car, but we can see the ad,
Okay.
as you can right now.
Come on, puppet.
Today is gonna be the day that they're gonna throw it back to you. By now, you should have somehow realized what you gotta do. I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now. Backbeat, the word is on the street that the fire in your heart is out. I'm sure you've heard it all before, but you never really had a doubt. I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now. Today was gonna be the day, but they'll never throw it back to you. Said maybe you're gonna be the one that saves me. And after all, you're my wonder wall.
That's great.
changing the culture.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
very exciting. So we have 3 more minutes, Linda.
Is it doing it in, where's the car made? Is it French?
Renault.
Okay, so we used to have those in the United States.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember them, don't you, in the 50s or 60s or something?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. We'll have to look it up. I'd buy one just for this ad.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
What else do you have? Anything?
well, I have,
Keith will be back to do the local news, so we're not covering any of that ourselves, and I'm sure he'll have double time next time.
one headline I didn't mention. 2 Saudi gay journalists have been outed, and they sought asylum in Australia, and they're being held, without a decision. And if they're sent back to Saudi Arabia, they'll probably go to their deaths.
Yeah.
So,
Anne is going to interview writer Holly Painter. So here's the interview.
hi, everybody. I'm here with Holly Painter, poet, activist, teacher, citizen of the world. And I'd like to start, if we could, with Holly reading a poem for us so that we can frame this interview with some poetry.
Thank you. This poem is called Field Trip. Bus windows stutter open, calves and thighs adhere to gray institutional vinyl. Squeals bounce, Dawson's Creek and Jay-Z, and who's asked which U of D boy to prom. Our teacher stands, grabs hold of a seat as we lurch through the parking lot. Girls, quiet down. That lasts 2 minutes. My plaid-skirted classmates are back on to Gilmore Girls, AP Bio, field hockey. Beside me, my best friend. I haven't slept well since we met a year ago. My math notebook curls with letters I can't give her, and my wallet holds as treasure the one she wrote me. Mundane but signed, love. As all these girls sign notes, link arms in the halls, hang photos of friends in lockers, braid hair in class. So casual in their intimacies while I cry in the library at lunch, headphones on. Oh, you're too afraid to touch, too afraid you'll like it too much. My crush, my love, my all-consuming shame and hunger, for whom I regularly lie and make excuses, whom I enable and save and spend quarter after quarter talking down from payphones around town, asks me what I'm reading. In my lap, a library book, Slaughterhouse-Five. She smiles, so it goes. My chest clenches. I turn my pages, try to breathe normally, not be aware of her clinking rings, her laundry soap that's different from mine, her bare, banged-up knees tucked neatly under the seat, smoothness grazing my legs at every thumping turn. Billy was helped to his feet by the lovely boy, by the heavenly androgyne. I read the sentence 3 times before nudging her. Do you know what this word means? Androgyne? She smiles again, too slowly, finds my eyes and holds my gaze too long. Yeah, it's like you. Not quite a boy or a girl, or hard to tell. 2 girls belt out Britney Spears and someone chews watermelon gum, and the bus rumbles onto I-75, and the wind blows my first love's hair across her face, and I have flaming cheeks and a word for myself.
Thank you. How long have you been writing?
Oh, since I was very small.
You described this as a poem about being genderqueer, would you say?
Yeah, I think it's a poem about first love and a poem about being genderqueer or having some awareness that I didn't fit the binary, but not even having the words binary or any of those things yet, and then finding a word that I, to this day, cannot pronounce correctly that might describe me, and knowing that this classic work of literature has me in it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I love the details, too, the concreteness of it all.
It's very 90s. It's got a real 90s feel to it.
Oh, that's true, that's true. You are widely educated. You've lived in Singapore. You got your MA in New Zealand. Obviously, you're a citizen of the world. What motivated you to leave Southeast Michigan?
Well, I got a scholarship to college in Los Angeles, which was a great opportunity, and I I had had a lot of time in the Midwest, and I was ready to explore other places. So I went to Los Angeles and was there for a few years and got an opportunity to study abroad in New Zealand and loved New Zealand. Went back as soon as I could after graduating and spent many years there. As you said, got my MFA there. And then moved back to Michigan to be with my now wife. And then a year later, we moved to Singapore for a few years. So
how'd you happen to move to Singapore?
she got a job offer there. She's an economist.
Uh-huh.
And so we were at the National University of Singapore. And then we both got offers to be at UVM. So we landed here.
Oh my gosh, so you've been here since 2016,
Yes.
and that's how you happened to move here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. And you published excerpts from a natural history
That's
in
right.
2015, a combination of poetry and philosophy.
Yes, so it's a book of natural history. It started by me kind of misunderstanding a philosophy class and writing some poems about it, and then I expanded that into an entire book.
No kidding. I've misunderstood a lot in my philosophy classes.
It can be very, very helpful in getting those creative juices flowing.
And your next publication is coming out in 2020, a book of poetry called My Pet Sounds Off.
Yes.
I love that title. Tell us about, was that from that?
No, so My Pet Sounds Off, the title may sound familiar because I borrowed some of it from the Beach Boys.
I see.
So it is a English translation of the Beach Boys. So I took some of their top songs, about 30-ish of their top songs, and I translated them in the sense that it's still in English, but I sort of highlighted what themes I thought were most important, and mostly just kind of, it's not a parody, it's a tribute and a criticism, all in one, of the Beach Boys.
That's
so
great.
it's a lot of fun. They're all very silly, and yeah, that's coming out from Finishing Line Press in 2020.
And tell us what you're working on now.
Oh, so I'm working on poetry still. I'm working on some autobiographical poetry, such as what I just read, and then I'm also working on a interview project. It's sort of in the vein of Stud Circle's working. And so I've been all over the country interviewing people who are in jobs that are becoming obsolete. I've interviewed somewhere between 50 and 60 people in something like 30 states, ranging from telephone operators to shoe shiners, all across the skilled trades, things that are being threatened by automation, offshoring, changes in tastes, hat maker, tobacconists, in various places around the U.S. And I'm turning that into a book.
Do you have grants for that, or?
I don't,
how
but
does
if
that
anyone
work?
would like to give me a grant,
I
I'm
know.
always open. But no, I've been just funding it on my own. I've been taking photos as well, and I have voice recordings. And I'm teaching a class at UVM that's actually based on this project. So I have students who are going out into the community and interviewing people about their jobs.
No kidding. And when do you expect that to be? It's ongoing.
It's ongoing. Yeah, I started about 5 years ago. The travel in combination with the actual production of the book, it takes quite a lot of time and energy and requires me to be away from home. So it has to be sort of fit in between semesters and when I have time.
You're teaching full-time at UVM. That slows you down.
It does, but it's nice. I mean, I really like teaching this class that involves the same sort of content. And then last spring I taught a creative writing class, and it's great to have the students writing their poetry and writing their fiction. And it always gets me kind of back on track with my own stuff, thinking, oh yes, I should be writing as well, not just grading.
And you're raising a family.
Yes, so we have one child and another on the way in January, which is exciting and terrifying. So I expect my writing to perhaps slow down, but I've also written quite a lot of poems about our first child. So I enjoy having that kind of domestic subject matter that's often neglected, I think, in a lot of writing. People don't always write about being parents and having a child. It's maybe not as exciting as going off and doing other things. So
I know, it's a false dichotomy, I think, that women can't, have a family and be writers.
Or that subject isn't of interest to the general public, that
Exactly.
nobody cares about, the child in the bath who's saying silly things. We only want to hear about, people off doing heroic business, but, it's
all heroic.
And there's a lot of material there. He says outrageous things, and I write them all down. So
That's great. And you teach in prisons also.
yes,
You
so
just
I
came
teach.
from
I
class
was at the prison today. I teach a first-year writing course at the prison through UVM. It's the liberal arts in prison program.
And how long have you been doing that?
This is the first semester that I've done it. So we sort of rotate through different faculty from different departments so that we can provide kind of a broad base of introductory classes that could be transferable to any college post-release.
Well, as viewers know, I'm a retired English teacher, so I have to ask you about influences.
Oh, gosh.
What writers do you like?
Oh, this is such a hard one because I like so many things.
Everybody. I mean,
I think you can hear from my poem that I was clearly an early English nerd. I liked my Kurt Vonnegut in high school, and my early poetry I think was very beat inspired. There's a lot of I'm from Detroit, you know, the Detroit area. There's a lot of cars and things and movement on the road and that kind of thing. At this point, I don't know who. There's just so much. It's become a mishmash in my head. I read a lot of New Zealand writers when I was in New Zealand, and you know, I would love for everyone to take away from this interview that they should go read Janet Frame. And
good. I want specific writers.
Well,
yes.
Everyone should go read Janet Frame as a starting point for their lives. But there's so. I mean, we're so blessed, all of us, to have access to the entire world of writers now. And I teach a climate change and science fiction class, and we have writers from 4 different continents on my syllabus. And I love kind of reading widely and not just, as you said, I'm a citizen of the world, so I'm a reader of the world as well, and I don't want to be stuck within this American silo.
And you're included in an anthology of New Zealand writers. Is that right?
Yes. I was, well, as we would say in New Zealand, say chuffed. I'm honored to have been included in an anthology of New Zealand poets, which I've ordered for the UVM library, so if anyone would like to go and check it out. It's called Wild Honey, and I was really honored to have a serious discussion of my work included in this anthology.
That's great. I used to teach Carrie Hume,
Oh, really?
the
Yes.
Bone People, a long time ago.
Yes, I like that one.
It's a really.
We don't get to it to my class. It's been on the long side, but
It is, yeah.
the other New Zealander that I always recommend is Patricia Grace.
Okay. What has she written? Is she contemporary?
She's contemporary. She's a Maori writer, and she writes just fabulous short stories and novels. Taking notes.
You know it for my reading list, my personal reading list. And I first met you when you were reading at Lit Club at the Light Club. Can you tell us a little about your involvement with them
Yes.
and who they are?
So Lit Club at the Light Club is a Monday night reading series. It's hosted by a sort of rotating group of guests. I think the night that you came, Meg Reynolds was hosting, and they pulled together. They have a Voices of Color showcase every other Monday, or might be every month. I'm not sure. I'm sketchy on the details. And then they also have regular features of queer poets and trans poets, and try to make sure that there's lots of different voices represented. So Monday nights, about 7:30-ish at the Lamp Shop on Winooski Road in Burlington.
You'd recommend it? It's a great
Oh yeah, it's great.
venue.
It's a great venue. It's so much fun to read amongst these lamps and odd sort of things, and it's a very supportive crowd every time.
And local. I mean, it's
local.
Burlington and Vermont generally.
Yes, it's we have a lot of students who come and read. I encourage the students in my class. It's a really friendly crowd to read in front of. Come and read your stuff. Everyone's going to, cheer. First timer, everyone's very happy to have new people up there.
That's great. Is there anything else? We're drawing to a close, and we want to end with one of your poems. So is there anything you want to add or any message you want to convey to our audience?
I don't think I have anything particular to say. You've covered so many things from my biography already.
Well, we just touched the surface of it. We'll have to have you back. But we'd like to end, if that's all right, with Holly Painter reading another poem.
So this is called Boys on the Beach. It is a sestina. So you can all look that up. So you know what a sestina is. Okay, Boys on the Beach. 5 hours in a gutless summer wonder, like a boys' brigade bus parading us north, as we bitch about the sticky black leatherback seat, treacle-thick heat, lazy fly fizzing, concussing on the glass, herds of cattle startled, grazing in the grass, roomy eyes see us onward. heaving past banks draped daintily in darker green, radiata pines with chewed up trim, interim toothpick piles, onward to gap-toothed smiles from local boys. Lollipop men in roadworks crews, onward, cruising out to sea, that salt soup sloshing flat washing in at Cooper's Beach, where nighttime nudes, postcoitally subdued, can hear the dogged ache of foreign waves, collapsing without heed for our cling film summer, humidity stew, my heartbeat pulsing heat. And I know it's this hair, Greek boy statue ring of curls, cool in museum marble maybe, but not in Greece, and not here in the flesh. Dribbled sweat, double vision blur. Bronze boys in a sandstorm kaleidoscope, slick symmetry down the beach on abrasive boogie boards, styrofoam smack against the sea. Floating palaces, moon-moored chariots for suntan sultans, seen here in foam-sewn ruffles, like the leaders of the first gasping heat of dusky demigods to reach us from some South American beach, where our Chilean doubles, Pacific palindromes, spoon, innocent in the surf, wrapped tight like salty cocoons, then climb atop buoys for a westward squint to the scouts they sent to find us out here. Alone but twin-hearted already, underwater and yet able to hear the plunging gurgles of the other. A single surge sets off the scene. The Grecian boatman tumbles, sand-scraped, jumbled, just a boy child of crepe paper lungs drugged by the heat of the midday sun, dragged under, deadly thunder inundating my ears, until I'm grabbed up and lugged onto the beach. A bit limp at first, limbs slack, neck flaccid like the beached baby hammerheads the fishermen sometimes find here. Staring down Pohudakawa pipe cleaners dusting the shore, inert with wide-eyed horror, only 2 meters short of the breathable sea that low-cut tidal tease, the ragged blue I now cough free, clumsy heat tarting up my cheeks as I lean into the numbness of a boy, flecked with ocean grit and breathing still in squalls. Beach towel drawn around our skinny boy's shoulders, a hero against the battering sea. He holds me to his chest despite the heat.
Holly Painter, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Good interview.
That was fun.
Very interesting.
She's very
I
easy
like
to-
her. Okay, well then we should say, remember to
Resist.
resist.